Dabbed in Ink presents.
Warning. The Hear It in Horror podcast is a review podcast that is full of spoilers of the first few episodes of the shows that we discuss. If you do not like spoilers, please pause and go listen to the show. We announce ahead of time what show is discussed in the next episode, or you can check it out in the show notes. We'll be here when you're done.
Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Hear It in Horror, where we dive into the depths of horror audio fiction to let you know if it's worth your nightmares. I'm your host, Morgan Velko, and with me today we have our lovely panelists, Clay, Izzy, and Jessica. So, what we heard in horror this week was episode 1 of Derelict, Fathom. Derelict starts with Season 1, titled Fathom, which follows an underwater laboratory base that has been built around a mysterious door in the ocean floor. As we study the door and try to figure out what it is hiding, we discover that some things should be left alone. Derelict was created by J. Barton Mitchell and produced by Night Rocket Productions.
Overall thoughts to start with?
Yeah, so for those at home, real quick, technical difficulties. Our hostess with the mostest is currently fading in and out of existence.
Usual.
So you're getting us very, very raw, and we apologize, but you're gonna like it. As far as the show, we end up watching the feed is Derelict, but the show is Fathom because prequels and sequels are confusing.
Yep.
Yes. So we watched, I'm still stuck on movies. We listened to Fathom, and initial thoughts, people here. I'm seeing some head shaking.
I think watched actually does kind of almost work, because this one
Felt
felt
the exact
like
same
a Hollywood movie with the screen off.
Oh
like
my, yes.
Like, I don't know about you guys, but I had like Hollywood going in the brain, in the image portion while I was listening
exactly
to this
that. It's so cinematic.
Exactly the word.
So professional. Just like everything from the production to the voice acting to the soundscape. It's very cinematics. Like, that's the first word that came to mind when I listened to it. I was like, oh, this is like an audio drama.
It's
this
also
is
got
like
orchestration, like really good orchestration throughout. Like the soundtrack of this thing is above and beyond a lot of what we've seen out there in the wild, I think.
And I think that shows that, we've done a lot of independent person in a closet with a microphone, and God bless, love those shows to death. Please, y'all don't stop making those. I'm assuming y'all may have heard some audio dramas actually had celebrity names backing them. They were garbage. Absolute garbage. They my name's attached, I don't have to do any work. Fuck you, you know where you are. This is probably the truest absolute, someone had a vision, they had a dream, a desire, they pulled every string they could to get this done, and I'm so happy they did, because it is amazing. Now, the script even is a very cinema-esque script. You've got your plot points, you've got the storyline, you know where it's going to go. It's you're not really surprised, watching a Stallone film. You're not really surprised when Rocky wins. It's kind of how it's supposed to be. I think this still pulled it off really well, though. Even being able to predict the arc, this was really good.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of those conceits of audio drama where it's you have to kind of tell the story because you can't necessarily see the story kind of thing. Like, a lot of the background information has to be brought up in a way that, is believable in the context of whatever the film is or whatnot is doing. It does this well in this one. I feel like it felt like a movie in the way it's kind of gave a lot of our exposition in our first episode. It kept the bits where, it was essentially telling us what we should be seeing. That actually kind of flowed really nicely in this one. So,
and I'll say it trusts its listeners to be intelligent. with what is happening without beating you over the head, without over explaining. Like there's this one point where the main scientist lady, she had like a really emotional call or something, and she listens to like this clip of like, or watches a video of her daughter, and it's just, they let that play. They don't, push you past it. They're like, this is what she's doing to calm down, and you hear her breath and how she's calming herself without her being like, okay, I can't handle this, I'm going to watch this video of my daughter and try to calm. Like, it's not telling you, it's playing it with audio in a way that you understand what's going on.
I think breath in general is just a very important part of the voice acting in this one, because a lot of the storytelling is actually done through breathing, which is interesting.
Oh yeah, it's so smart.
The focus is we're underwater, so that it makes sense, but it's just fitting. Sorry.
No, go ahead. There are times when they do have to explain things to the audience, but I think they do it well too. Like they use the character like their secret agent man. He's just like, yes. I'm not too smart. Can you tell me what that means? I'm like, that's the perfect stand-in for the audience member. Whoever wrote this understands screenplays way too well to be doing what they're doing, honestly.
Yeah. Oh no, this guy's role of like, okay, I'm the dummy, give it to me in non-technical terms. Like it's a well-known kind of convention of cinema.
Yeah, bringing in the outsider, especially into like a sci-fi situation, to be like, okay, you've all been here for 11 months, I'm the new guy, fill me in. It's like, yeah, like as Clay said, that's your stand-in for the audience. It's a way to give the lore, give the background without like doing a third person narration or having awkward dialogue between characters who should already know this information.
That feels good for opening thoughts. Should we get into the recap?
The recap!
We can. Fair warning. I listened to this a week ago. So usually...
So did I. So I have lost my sheet with all of my proper nouns on it. So it's going to be one of those, the guy.
Yeah, I'll do my best to stitch through my increasingly deteriorating handwriting.
I feel like that was a review in itself. Just can't go on with show.
Oh, I just mean over the course of my life. I look back to like my handwriting in high school. I'm like, wow, look at me writing essays every day. And now I look at my handwriting. I'm like, there are presumably letters in there. Alrighty, so let's get into the recap. We open with a cold opening of a different podcast. Stop doing this. I am begging you. Please stop cold opening a brand new show on the very first episode with an entirely different show. It is so confusing. If I wasn't listening to this for this podcast, I would have been like, what? No, I don't know what's happening with these space burritos. I need to go. Anyway,
I gotta talk to you about that show after this.
Desert Sky. Yeah, I was like, I feel like Clay's mentioned Desert Sky and has good things to say about it. I'm sure it's a good show.
But yeah, don't do that.
Stop it.
Stop it. Even to lean into the fact that again, this is very cinematic. Lean in. Hey, before the feature presentation, here's a trailer. Something.
Or at the end of the episode, be like, did you like Derelict? Check out Desert Sky. Here's a preview,
Yeah, I feel like, first episode should run off of slightly different rules than everything, This is your hook.
I don't know. I was like, oh, are these in the, because my husband listened ahead, because he's gotten in the habit of being like, what are you listening to? And then he'll listen a little bit ahead. And he's like, I have no idea what was going on in those first 2 minutes. I would listen to it. I was like, I don't think this is the show. And he's like, it's not. And I'm like, no, I think this is a preview for another show. He's like, oh, thank God. I was so confused. And like, my poor sweet man. But anyway, so we open with Dr. Ava Graf, I think is what I've written here.
Sounds familiar.
She's having a spooky dream about how spooky the ocean is, and we get kind of like this, it's a great opening narration. I wrote down great vocal pacing, because again, that kind of plays into what I was talking about earlier, where it trusts its audience. There's so many times when I think producers and voice actors feel like they need to pick things up in order to keep the audience's attention. She has great pacing, really great narration there. So she wakes up from her bad dream. And Sarah, who I think is the doctor, is just like body stalking her. She's like, you're not sleeping, your heart rate's elevated. And Ava's like, could you back off? And I'm like, which is fair because like, get out of my blood work, please. It's first thing in the morning. But we kind of learn a little bit what's going on here. We are on the Fathom, which is an underwater kind of like base. There has been a recent explosion. One of the scientists, as part of the team, Edgar's, just blew up the science team area, which is also where the AI hardware unit was. So it blew up the science area, killed 11 people. That's important to note. And ever since, Mac, the AI, has been acting up. And Emerson, who's in charge of upkeeping Mac, is missing. So then Ava's like, all right, let's listen to my voicemails. And there's one from Angela, who Mac says is Ava's wife. And Ava's like, no, not. And you're like, okay, so like an ex-wife situation. And kind of through there, we get a little insight into Ava's past and her personality. Angela says they haven't talked for like 2 months. And because Ava's just not responding to her messages. And Angela's like, I miss her too. And I'm like, oh, that's dead daughter. That's dead daughter. Yep. And that's why you're now divorced. And then what Angela also says is like, look, I can't keep waiting around for you. I'm grieving in my own way too. I'm going to take this job off world. And it's like, okay, so we are not, even if we are in our own reality, it's like maybe a future reality where we have these advanced sciences and stuff. You know, we're not down in the water right now. So then Ava deletes and then undeletes the message. And this is another area where I wrote good breath work, because as Angela's talking, you hear these little intakes of breath, these like quiet sobs as she's like processing this information and stuff. So that was just really nice to hear. So then Joe, I think, calls. Joe, I think, is like kind of like her manager, like kind of like a step above her. He like coordinates stuff.
Commander, I think.
Yeah, he's in charge of like being in charge, as far as I can tell. He kind
of being in charge, yeah.
And he's pissy about something I've written. Probably about Edgar's stealing explosives and blowing up the base, and the science team in general has been told they have to return to the surface. So they've been underwater for 11 months. Ava really does not want to go back to the surface. So this is that point where she listens or watches a video of her daughter to calm down. And then Mac comes on, the malfunctioning AI, and Ava has major AI psychosis. She thinks Mac is her best friend. She's like, oh, you're my only friend down here. Not, software programmed to say nice things to me and be polite. It's like, girl, you're losing it. Girl, you're losing it. And they mentioned that Mac's development was accelerated specifically to be used on this mission. So he's kind of like an experimental AI situation. And then we get a mood-destroying ad at 15 minutes in. Mine was for the Arizona lottery. I don't know what you guys got.
I didn't get one.
You didn't get any ads?
I didn't get an ad.
The whole thing, I got like 5.
No, I didn't get any.
None on me.
What were you
That's
listening on?
crazy. I was listening on Spotify. I know, I shouldn't be listening
I was also on
Spotify
Spotify.
Spotify's the devil.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what, because I was like, obviously they're like baked in because they're pulling like location specific ads. Because again, I got one for the Arizona lottery. You guys didn't get any ads?
No.
I was going to be like, oh, it makes sense because this obviously has high production value that they need like a lot of ads. But I have like Spotify Premium.
No, I just got like the standard Fable and Folly stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Anyway, so then we're introduced to Agent Blaine, I think. I was hearing Blaine, but then when I looked at like the chapters on Spotify, it was like Agent Blaine, and I was like...
Blaine, bravo.
Okay, yeah, I was like, Agent Blaine, and then so that's just Spotify's own AI sucking ass. Now, he's part of the internal security division for Mass Dorian, which is the corporation that has sent them down to Fathom to open a vault.
Yeah, it's like if Google and Halliburton had a baby.
Yeah, so just majorly
yeah.
sketchy, major corporate greed going on, very, how we expect the future to go, where corporations take over the world and they don't care about anything. Very much that. So Agent Blaine is there to investigate this explosion because, obviously. And then Joe, meanwhile, is like, everything sucks. Mac specifically sucks. He's not working rightly. Emerson is missing. And then as Joe is shit-talking Mac, there's a hull breach. And I'm like, coincidence? I don't think so. So there's a hull breach. Joe has to go deal with that. And then meanwhile, Blaine wants to talk to Ava privately. And this is where we get some information about what they're doing down there. And then I got another ad at 22 minutes in for Friskies.
Now, I don't think that first one was actually a hull breach, was it? I thought it was Mac gave them a room that he said was pressurized, but it wasn't pressurized.
I wrote down hull breach. I cannot corroborate. It was a whole week ago.
Well,
we just don't know.
Because Mac's first big problem was he was like, no, there's no eddies coming through. You're fine. And then there's a massive eddy coming through.
Yeah, and then immediately
they definitely
sow
the idea that Mac is not a trustworthy AI for at least anything that will keep you alive.
That sounded redundant. Non-trustworthy AI.
Yeah, right. When was this? Was this made before everyone knows that AI is shit?
This AI could actually be intelligent.
This was 2021, so this was the birth of our optimism, I guess. Back when people thought ChatGPT knew some shit.
Who thought that? Who?
I'll give you I will give you the scary answer. The average voter.
It checks out. Given the state of things. All right, so...
Why do y'all make everything so political? Eat my ass.
Because we live in a political world. So, after my Friskies ad that you guys didn't get, sorry about it, we're with Agent Blaine and Ava at the observation deck, and we learn that the vault is 7 million years old. It's evidence of alien life. We're 19,000 feet below the surface, and it's emitting VCF signals that are short range, which is an underwater signal. And so it kind of explains you'd have to know to be looking for this signal in order to find it. And it's specifically an underwater signal. So the implication here is that this was put here for a reason, but it's not broadcasting to the world it's here. It's put there so that people who know where it is can find it. And what Ava and her team is down there for, they're trying to solve the signal that's being transmitted from the vault, because if they have an answer to it. If they have an answer to the signal, that's the key to open the vault. They tried to force it open. They tried to dig around it. There's no other way in. They need this signal to send back to the vault to open it up. And then Blaine accuses Ava of doing her job really badly and going slow on purpose because she doesn't want to go home. And she gets really agitated at that. And he brings up the dead daughter and stuff. And she's like, how dare you? And I'm like, he's got a good point, though. If you're just like, I want to hang out underwater and not do my job, maybe you shouldn't really be down here. And they're also saying the signal that the vault's giving off makes people go a little crazy. And Edgar's had blown up the science department because he's trying to stop the project because he'd been hearing voices. He hadn't been sleeping. Other scientists were also hearing voices too. And then Blaine reveals to Ava that Edgar's, in fact, when he returned to the surface, killed himself. And so they talk more about the vault, and they're saying, I kind of went a little off the rails on this one. They're saying that the vault might actually be an alien prison. And I'm like, an alien prison in a universe run by greedy corporations, and you need a key to open this vault where there's presumably a monster on the other side. And I'm like, oh, it's Borderlands. This is the plot of Borderlands. And then I'm like, oh, and then we have our female scientist who's kind of losing her mind a little bit, who's got a weird connection to technology. We have our Tannis here, and I'm like, oh, it's Borderlands. I don't think they intended to.
With two main distinctions. Of course, one being underwater.
It's underwater.
Two, I never once, despite my want to, ever heard, catch a ride.
Catch a ride.
That would be more busted my mom's lady parts. That was... Great character. But yeah, no, and I think it's one of those things too. It's an old concept. We've seen it millions of times. It never gets tiring though, I don't think, really. Because it's such a human aspect of just like, yes, megacorp greed. What could go wrong? It just works.
Also, there's a thing in a box. And what's the thing in a box? We don't know what the thing in a box is. We won't know till we open the box.
And I think, too, like, because if you listen to the trailer of the show first, like, they flat out spell it out for you. They're like, look, we're not trying to M. Night Shyamalan you. We don't think you're cleverer than you. This is the pace we're going to take. Now, once the box is opened, all bets are off if we get that far. But the trailer's just like, look, yes, there's a thing. Because even the trailer's like, I don't think it's a repository. I think it's a prison. And I'm like, yeah, well, so do we all. But, we're here for this.
Yeah, but I was like, alien vault, that's a prison for presumably a monster on the other side. I was like, okay.
That could somehow...
It's been here for millions of years.
And
so,
it's been here for millions of years. And I was like, oh, I bet maybe there's some like alien protectors. I don't know, let's call them guardians, who probably put the monster in the vault. But
a monster that
anyway.
could somehow still emit ultra low frequencies.
Yes. All right. So, and it's revealed that Ava's kind of been hearing voices too. And as we know, Sarah, the doctor, has been body stalking her and knows she
Such a
hasn't been
good term.
sleeping. And body stalking, yeah. She's in her veins, recording all of her information.
At
so
least
Blaine-
in her Fitbit.
That makes it
Her
less
Oura ring.
creepy, like at least less ominous. It's like, oh, I just watched your Fitbit.
So Blaine tells Ava, go to her quarters, pack up. She's obviously, mentally unwell, unfit to continue the job. And it's like, I entirely agree. I don't know if at this point you're meant to be on Ava's side, but I was like, girl, you are a mess. He's right. I think they were trying, because it felt to me like they were trying to paint him as like an asshole, hard ass kind of character. And I'm like, no, I agree with everything coming out of his mouth. He's talking a lot of sense here. You're a mess. Go home, talk to your wife, learn how to grieve appropriately. Yeah, so she throws a tantrum, starts breaking stuff in her room. And then I think Mac reminds her that she has a second voicemail that she never listened to. And the second voicemail is from Edgar's. He used his phone call to call her. And he reveals that he still heard voices on the surface. And then he says something interesting, that he doesn't care anymore and tells Ava because she deserves whatever happens. And I'm like, what does that mean? And he says the signal is both key and lock. And then Ava's like, I can't let anyone else know about this. And she deletes the voicemail. And then I don't know if I was just not keeping track as well as I should have earlier. She replays the signal because now whatever Edgar's told her somehow solved it for her. And she's like, oh, it's repeating exactly at these points. And I'm like, did you never notice that? Wouldn't that have been super obvious? And they said they tried like inputting equations here up to like 7-digit numbers. And then as she's talking through to Mac to input the numbers here, she uses like all numbers under 10 and now it magically works and she's figured out the key. And I was like, all right, if that's what we need to do to move the plot along, but not sure why.
Magic number's 11, it all works out.
Yeah, I was like, because she was mentioning earlier, she's like, I need Mac to solve this signal. And I was like, I guess we are really living in the AI future where we can't do basic math on our own as a scientist.
See,
but...
I thought that was a great failsafe because to find this, theoretically, either A, life had to evolve on that planet to be able to reach those depths, or B, a spacefaring species, which now, like, at that point, so you're thinking high digits, you're thinking, I gotta calculate shit with non-Euclidean numbers, and they're just like, no, it's 2 plus 2. We want you to think so hard you'll overlook the most simple solution.
They said they tried, like, all numbers, though, so anyway.
I find it interesting that, like, the main key was that it was exactly 11 seconds long. And it's like, seconds are a human construct. Like, the history of seconds is very short in the grand scheme of human life.
And,
really.
like, looking at a WAV file, it would be so obvious to just look at a WAV file and be like, oh, it's repeating. I can look at a WAV file and tell you if a word ends in an S or a hard consonant. And you're telling me this scientist is looking at this WAV file and isn't noticing that it is repeating exactly every 11 seconds?
Crew, man.
Well, yeah,
11 months. 11 months down there.
You would have had this cracked in, like, a day.
Apparently, and it's like a basic algebra equation. It's not even like a hard one. Like we aren't getting into like, dividing by 0.
No,
so
it was almost just a handshake of just play it back exactly the same, change nothing. Just
and I was like,
hello.
Blaine was so right. She is so bad at her job. So bad at her. Anyway.
I
Again, I
love
don't know
Agent
if I,
Blaine
like-
so much.
If I missed why she couldn't figure this out earlier, and I apologize, but to me, I was like, what is wrong with this woman? But yeah, so
I just took it as like, this is just the technobabble segment that gets us where we need to go to the
they're like,
next.
people don't understand math. If we just say numbers and variables, they'll be like, oh, math is happening. Correct. Scientists do math. But yeah. So she figures it out magically in 10 seconds after Edgar's tells her basically nothing. And then she calls Joe and she's like, I figured it out. We don't have to leave, because she doesn't want to go home and be reminded of her daughter. And it's like, we've established there are other planets. You could go to another planet. It doesn't have to be. I don't know if they say if this is Earth or not, or if it's just like an ocean on another planet.
This is Earth. They mentioned
We are on Earth? Okay.
We are on Earth, yeah.
She could go to another planet. There are other
Yeah.
oceans. It's fine. But yeah, so she calls Joe. She wants him to do the ocean walk, because why would she do anything? To broadcast the key to the vault. And then she's like, and once we open it, they'll have to keep us here. And I was like, I don't know. Anyway, they're in the middle of the call when supports of Fathom collapse. Middle of the call. Comms, AI down. Water floods in, and I wrote here, wouldn't the pressure kill them the second there was a breach? But I don't know enough about water.
I mean, that's what kind of took out the Ocean Gate, folks. Is like, it's a very
I was like, there was an
small
implosion.
breach, and they all got extruded through a hole about yay big in about 3 seconds. So yeah.
I think that's the other way. There's a law. I can't remember the name of the law, but like if you're on the pressured side and then there's the hole into the less pressured side, that would be outside going. Then you get spaghettified through the hole. But if you're inside the lesser pressure side, your problem is you're going to collapse because the air is going to not have enough weight.
Either way, you're dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but instead of dying, she's flushed to the dive room where she then sit. And she starts going to the comms, being like, hey, anybody there? Mac, my only friend, because I'm delusional. Are you there? And then she starts hearing like whispers and voices on the comms. And then at the end, it's like, Fathom is a prequel to Derelict. And I was like, did I listen to the wrong show?
The wrong homework? Yeah. I think we all did.
I was like, oops, it's been an hour. All the laundry's done.
And we listen to Derelict as Derelict, a sequel to Fathom.
I'm like, it can just be stories in chronological order. We don't have to be prequeling and sequeling. It can just be in order. That's okay. And then ending ads. Did you guys get ending ads?
Oh yeah, I got
Folly
the
stuff.
ones that were appended onto the yeah.
Okay.
I think they were on the actual recording. So yeah.
All right. Well, because you only listened to episode 1, Izzy, do you want to do a recap of episode 2, or can we just like shoot some details that happened? Because I know you listened to episode 2.
I did listen to episode 2. I don't know, because I don't have actual notes about the thing, but I could try.
We'll work it out together.
Yeah. You and me, we can get this done. So Eva and Mac, they are in the hold of the airlock, and they've got some sort of diving suits that are a little bit like Alien Ripley, like
Power armor.
exoskeleton-esque, but diving suit. And they get after phoning out to different parts of what used to be the lab, they get only one guy, Joe, who is not having a good time of it because his legs have been crushed under some sort of something. I think it was a door, like a pressure door came down. So now he's in a conduit and he's sort of giving up. He's like halfway there. He's like, oh, it's so far. And she's like, you can do this. And he's like, but my legs. And she's like, we're all gonna die if you don't. What's the problem? Get in there, man.
No. She's like, hey, you tell me stories constantly about how that time a shark was biting your leg and you swam to shore. Shut up. And he was like, yeah, that happened.
That's fair. So now he has to protect his honor about the whole I had a shark attached to my leg story. So he starts crawling towards the panel, but things keep going wrong as we learn that the core is heating up, and if they do not flush it into the ocean, the entire lab will be squinched into a tiny, like,
A
tin
marble.
can or
Yeah.
something sized thing. So, again, that probably should have already happened given the whole pressure situation, but didn't. So Ava has to go into one of the outfits and then walk outside the ship to get to the place where Joe is. They have a nice little interchange. We actually get to really like Joe, because we only got Joe for like a little while in the first episode, and this time they actually really make us like him, which, as you can tell,
so
is
he
not...
dies?
Yeah, exactly. That's basically how it goes. They have a Joe must do his part of the thing inside of this conduit that is filling with water, and she must do her thing on the outside of the...
But before he dies, all the trauma bonding. It's like
all the trauma bonding.
You're down here because you're hiding from something. Well, how do you know? We're all down here because we're hiding from something. Like, you don't take this job if you have a healthy life.
Oh yeah, Ava's under the impression she's the only person in the entire history of the world who has suffered.
Oh yeah, and Joe just like stomps that out real hard and quick. It was like,
oh yeah, and
he's like, look,
he's
you don't
just
understand. I shot my best friend in the face and then came down here. Like, you're not alone. Also, shut up. While he's dragging his broken legs behind him through ice cold water.
And she's walking along the floor of the ocean, following a line in her mechanized ocean diving bell that she was not appropriately trained for, but Max helping her out. So they get to the thing where she has to do her access code to flush the thing, and he's on the inside and he has to put in his access code, but the core gets stuck. And they're like, well, what do we do now? Do we do the thing again? And they were like, no, this is it's got one whoosh, and if it didn't whoosh, it won't whoosh. So then he's like, well, what we can do is we can breach and we can flood the area I'm in with water. And Ava is like, don't make me do this. And he's like, you gotta do it. I can't. You gotta do it. And she does it, and he dies. And it's very sad. And she does it was nice working with you, Joe. And that was basically the end of the episode.
R.I.P. Joe, a real one.
Yeah.
I don't think I do this as well as Jessica does, but that was
No, that was great. I love the dramatizations. The Joe! Incredible work.
Yeah, like they gave Joe all the time in the world. Not to the, but it's like he was like, yeah, I even got a romantic interest. We just kind of gloss over that fact. But yes, I have a romance down here in hell. And I was like,
oh yeah, he was with Sarah.
Yeah, they told us so much about
Body Stalker Doctor?
Yeah.
Sarah?
Yes, Body Stalker Doctor and him were a thing.
And it was like, I didn't know that. And he was like, well, you don't really talk to fucking anybody.
I know. She's
that
like,
was the thing.
Mac, you're my only friend. It's like, maybe because you don't talk to any of the other scientists. It's like when those kids are like, oh, I'm bullied, alone, and then they're the assholes, and you're like, nobody likes you not because you're a weirdo. They don't like you because you're an asshole.
And I still love, because like Joe is dying, and he's still like trying to help Ava's like mental esteem. Was like, no, once we get out of here and I have legs again, we'll get a beer. It's just you, me, and Sarah. and he's sitting there just like, well, he's like, the water's up to my chin now. I can't go much further, but yeah, we'll make this out. We'll be fine.
I can't feel much of anything. Oh, it's so cold. But...
It's so cold. Yeah, he's like, no. I will help you fight your internal demons as I'm literally fucking dying. But
tell Sarah.
It's still it's still good.
Out
and
anyway. Just tell Sarah she knows. She knows.
She knows.
I just want to hear like one ending at some point. It's like, tell my wife, schmooklebop. She'll know what it means. And just because I think some couples just have that weird whatever nonsensical, and it's like, that only makes sense for them. And it's probably really inappropriate.
Absolutely.
You develop a whole different vocabulary.
Yeah. Just in jokes and terrible things that just make no sense to anybody
And then
else.
you forget, and you'll say your stupid words, and they'll be like, "What is that?" And I'm like, that's just how we say this word. I'm sorry.
You can't leave
brought
me
it
alone
out."
in this. You have to remember to.
You
That's the
invented
covenant
this
we
word. You invented this word.
Okay,
But
but
yeah,
if
so
ever I
that's-
write anything that has this convention in it, Schmooklebop will make the.
So
I've-
that's the basic plot we're
Yeah.
dealing with here. Do we want to dive into like production or voice acting? Our thoughts on that?
I think we're just going to have tons of thumbs up for that. Like,
Oh,
real quick,
so many thumbs up.
I love that a lot more podcasts are doing, like, taking the time and effort to do, like, an IMDb page. Like, get the people out there. Voice acting is respectful, sound design is also, and writing, directing. It's all these great things. But this IMDb page is, like, you click on any of the actors or actresses on there, and you get some impressive shit. Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't,
they're all. It's professional.
but,
These are professional voice actors.
but, like, the person who made this, J. Barton Mitchell, this is their first rodeo. As far as I can tell, nothing else. Like they've written some novels, like 10, but this is their first production thing ever, and just came out with loaded pockets and swinging for the fences. Apparently,
Makes sense. And I mean, there's interesting stuff on the sound design side of things, because I think setting this thing in like an underwater setting as opposed to space, like you have so much more sound that you can play with to get the idea of motion. Like, there's swooshing through the water to get places occasionally, so you get a sense of movement, like all the storytelling of water movement. The way the automated diving bell, I'm just going to keep calling it that. I know it's not a stationary object. I don't care. But like it has like it's very kind of mechanical, hollowy kind of soundscape going, where you still have like things impacting the thing on the outside, and you're like, yeah, this is great. It gives you a sense of space and movement, and it's an advantage, because space, you don't have quite the general familiarity as a listener as to like what things sound like in space.
the audio
particularly.
expectations.
The audio expectations, because there's different ones. Like I've heard that, like, it's surprisingly noisy being on a spaceship, but at the
Who
same
do you
time,
know on a spaceship?
I
Izzy just got
don't.
friends.
No,
Izzy
I
just
just
got
followed Chris
space friends.
Hatfield for a while.
I was gonna say, if you're
Gotta
friends with a
support
person
my
who snuck,
countrymen in space.
is that the one who snuck a gorilla suit onto the space station?
I think he did. He used to do
that's
a lot of
epic.
like Bill Nye-esque kind of stuff, like for the Chillins, where he'd be like, here's how this behaves in space, and he'd squeeze out a cloth and all the like water would like cling to it, and I was just like, you are a cool man, I like this
Science. Yeah, I'd say like anything in terms of like production and voice acting is just being nitpicky. My husband did keep listening because he wanted to hear if it kept being Borderlandsy, and then he ended up listening to the whole thing, which is the only time that'll speak volumes about this program compared to the other ones. This is the only time he kept listening. He'd come home from work and he'd be mad because, from what I've heard, there's a lot of dumb bitch decisions pretty frequently where you're
Again, cinematic. Yeah, sadly, DB disease is a big cinematic thing.
Yeah, so he comes in from work. He's like, yeah, I had time to listen to the car today. And then he's just mad and he's telling me everything that's happening. But he's still listening to it. So it's like, obviously, like it's holding his attention and stuff like that. He did say in the second episode that the audio they used for when they're speaking in the diving suits kind of drove him a little crazy.
I think it works better over headphone than it would in open
yeah, he probably would have been listening like through car speakers. So
yeah,
I think also
I think this one's good for headphone.
It's really good for headphones, but also I think a lot of us are trained that, like, whatever we're listening to something, both sides of a conversation have to be somewhat equal. This one is definitely one person on radio, one person inside a hollow-esque, echoey suit. So it's completely left-right difference in how, like, what we're usually used to.
It also uses like a lot of like very low, deep frequency stuff. So I did not listen to it on open speaker, but I would imagine that it would kind of suffer.
yeah, I listened again while we were doing laundry for that first one. It was just on my phone. Sounded fine to me. Just so you're probably going to get like a deeper experience if you listen through headphones, but if you listen off of like a standard device, it's still very listenable. And then as far as like the voice acting goes, again, very professional. Again, my only one little nitpick is Agent Blaine kind of felt like he was doing a character voice where it's like, I'm the secret agent. I kind of have this. It's like when you drag your voice through grit a little bit to kind of be like, I'm kind of sexy, aren't I? And you're like, that's a personal pet peeve for me when people try to be like sexy with the voice acting if that's not what the character calls for. But maybe he is meant to be sexy. I don't know. But yeah,
it is a little stereotypical like FBI agent in a cartoon or something.
Yeah, but in audio, we've talked about it before. We're having these kind of more cliche character voices tells you exactly what you need to know immediately because you don't have the visual clue. Like I'm not looking at him with his sunglasses and like a pressed suit, like to get like in the slicked back hair to be like, okay, that's what this is about. You can only get it through the voice. So him having that voice, you're like, okay, you're like one of those kind of guys, you know?
Sometimes having a stock character is an advantage.
True. Not to excuse or anything, but like later on the series, for both of them actually, like you find out like the Moss Dorian special blah 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 blah. Like they're like super marines who have been nanite injected, like they are the ghost in the fucking whatever. Like they are
like
they're
doll soldiers, I guess you could.
So they're supposed to be
maybe
emotionless nothings, just like I'm just here to kill or see as things cannot be killed. This is my one job. And that's it. Like, okay, so small spoiler, but I really don't care. It's still great. They're nanite loaded up. Like they're like Moss Dorian has put all their questionable advances into them, right? And it's great. They heal faster. Their oxygen, it's so much better. Like they can run. They're stronger. But there reaches a point where just like human limitations have its thing. So if you're one of these Moss Dorian special soldiers, you call your 1-900 number and you tell your operator, like, look, I'm about to die. Turn all the dials to 11. I understand I'm only going to be alive for 10 minutes, but I'm going to fuck some shit up in those 10 minutes. And it's great. And I was like, this is what I kind of live for, actually. Like, this is a super soldier I like. He was like, look, this is a no-win scenario, but they're going to be, like, bleeding when they win. Like, this is awesome.
That's how I go into every fight. I imagine myself getting it. I have no delusions that I will win a physical fight with anyone, but I will do my damnedest on the way out.
like, look, even if they win, make them walk away with a limp. Something, yeah.
I will claw your eyes out if that's the last thing I do. The other voice acting great. We talked about the breath work is so impressive, which makes me wonder how this was recorded. Because it's one thing to be like, okay, do like a little sniffle here, do a gasp here or whatever. Or if they had the voice actress for Ava listen to that recording from her ex-wife and react to it while listening to it or something like that. I'd be curious to know what the recording process was. And then, of course, the dialogue sounds great. I don't know if they stitched it together because these are professional voice actors, so it wouldn't be difficult to use their takes and make a natural sounding conversation, or if they did have them all record together.
Well, I know, like, I think even at the beginning of the first episode, they were thanking like a local college or something. So I have to imagine like their recording studios. So it's probably on site, I would think, because it was really good. But yeah, I don't know, could be wrong. But I think this is gonna be those ones where sadly we really don't have much negative to say. Maybe that's why Alante's not here right now. Our hater's missing.
He's like, I have something to say.
Alante, when you hear this, I'm joking. I'm sorry, but you can attack me later. But yeah, it was a good.
Well, there's always one of us that is the standout. It's a job that must be done.
It really does. But to cycle back to the very beginning of like this episode we did, this was cinematic. There's not that many of them out there as far as podcasts go. This may have set the bar.
Yes, because I think our last one we said was kind of the gold standard was Badlands Cola.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of like blows it out of the water. I mean, Badland Cola is still incredible, but this just feels like...
I almost want to say they're two different animals just because of the distinction.
Oh, they very much are.
Yeah.
Like they...
Like as you were saying, like you could close your eyes and it's like the TV's on and there's a movie going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my one complaint, having only heard the first episode, was I did not find Ava a likable character at all. I didn't agree with like, I don't like, again, and I don't know if she's supposed, and again, we're also working with a prequel to the story in general. So if we're setting up characters here to be bad guys, to make bad decisions, that in the main story we have to like deal with, oh, that's how we got here, then it makes sense that they're going to be doing silly things, you know?
And then, of course, I think for like any true plot point to pop off, there has to be either someone makes a dumb decision or there's a massive plot hole. Otherwise, a story, especially a massive story, just probably would never ever take place. It's like, hey, what would happen if we open this locked chest? Probably shouldn't do that. Well, yeah, but then we're over in 3 pages. So Ava having DB, I mean, it's going to happen.
You just gotta
It's
accept.
structural
Yeah.
DB.
Structural DB. There we go. That's exactly it.
Yep. Got it. It's the glue that holds things together.
All right. Well, I think we're near the point of, does anyone have any questions that we'd love to ask Mr. J. Barton Mitchell or anyone else?
Yeah, I guess just for me, I'd like to know how you were able to pull this off. Were you approached by somebody to do? Did you write an audio-specific script? Did you send out a casting call for these voice actors? Did they record separately? Did they record together? Like how this feat was possible for someone who, Clay, you said this was his first ever audio drama, right?
As far as I can tell. Now, like I said, he's written almost a dozen novels, but this is his first audio drama.
I mean, like an audio script, because this is a script, this isn't prose, is so different from prose writing. And it's so different also from screenwriting, because we will get people send in screenplays to submission sometimes. And it'll be like, well, how are we supposed to show that the man walks in and is hiding something behind his back, Jeffrey? How are we supposed to show that in audio? We can't, Jeffrey. The whole plot lies on us knowing that there is a knife behind this man's back, and I have no way to do that in audio. So to be able to take maybe what started as a screenplay and then adapt it to audio is also another skill, because I've had to do that with some of the screenplays where I was like, okay, if I finagle this enough, I can make it work in audio. Might have a little awkward dialogue every now and then, but the story is good enough that we're going to try to make it work. But yeah, so that's a skill in and of itself. So my question is, how did this become?
Yeah, because it's really amazing that this just...
That was a lot of questions in one. Like,
we'll just let him talk, right? We got an interview lined up. Just let the man talk. Just let him spew.
I'd be down. Just, sir, you have the mic. You're good with words. Please, just go. I mean, and I think it's most of my questions too. Of course, like the playful one, like, did you actually play Borderlands? But no, it's just like... we've talked to some people who like just started off be like in the closet with a single microphone, hope and dream, and this person just came out of nowhere essentially and just like owned it. Oh my god. But
absolutely.
Any questions, Izzy?
No, I was just sneezing. Let's see. Trying to think of one of the questions. Jessica hogged all the questions. There were so many there.
I usually have no questions, and I'm making up for it this time.
I know, right? I always forget that questions are a segment of this thing, so I have to make them up as I go. I don't know. I think some of my questions would be like, what are the inspirations on this one? Like, both design-wise and script-wise. Like, is this kind of a divergent evolution kind of situation from like things mentioned before, or like I don't know, like this seems very familiar. It's like it's a good kind of take on a very kind of what's the word I'm looking for, just a genre,
like a plot
movie,
line, like an action adventure sci-fi. Like if that is your genre of cinema, then I think you'd really enjoy this, because it plays into some of the pitfalls and cliches of the genre, but it also has the hallmarks and the triumphs of the genre as well.
Absolutely, because this is definitely like it's more towards the end of like a space adventure kind of horror thing, with a lot of the tropes that are kind of endemic in that. So
yeah, it would definitely lean closer to like the movie Alien, I would think.
I was going to say, it feels very alien coded.
Very like, alien coded.
Just everything right before you, like the first actual alien shows up, just all the intensity, all the anxiety, It did well.
So it's got, a lot of places it could potentially go. I think I'm going to be listening to this one further, which is something that I don't do with a lot of stuff.
There's just the 2 seasons, right? I don't know if Clay, does it end after this second season or...
I think there's a third one coming out, but I can't confirm that.
And these episodes, I think the first one's like 55 minutes, and then my husband's like, they keep getting longer.
But
so there's plenty of content. If you're into it, you're going to be into it.
And on the plus side, though, like the episode number is relatively low. Like, it's not like 39 episodes, each one an hour and a half long. I think it's like 9 episodes.
Yeah.
Season.
Yeah.
So not horrible. Not entirely doable. Entirely doable.
Yeah, no, on par with like a Netflix season kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got a road trip coming up. This would be like, just put this on.
This would be great for a road trip. Oh, particularly if it rained the whole time.
Oh.
It's a BC road trip option for folks up here.
I can't
just got atmospheric rivers all the time.
Luckily, this isn't like horror. It has horror elements into it. You know, it has the apprehension, but like, I can't imagine listening to like a horror podcast, the capital H horror podcast at night on the drive while it rains. I'm like, no, I'd pull over the first motel, but I wouldn't trust that motel either. So that would just have a problem. Just driving until the sun comes up, I fucking guess.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even think about doing that at night. In my vision, it was just during the day.
Oh. I don't have a good relationship with the sun, okay? Like, thanks to my time in the military, Bob can fuck off. I hate him so much. Big orange bastard. Anyway, that's my own personal beef. That's a lot to unpack for later.
So I'm assuming we all know the answer to this, but Pickle.
The big pickle. Massive pickle.
Massive pickle.
Yeah. Like, because it's so cinematic. Because it's so cinematic, it wins the Pickley at this point. I mean, it's just, we don't have the Oscar. We got the pickle.
It's well brined, you know.
well brined.
Artisanal pickle.
It's true. I guess that makes it one of our golden pickles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you're going to get into it, it's just going to be nitpicking. You might have problems with some of the characters and the decisions they make. You might
not care for the plot.
Yeah, you might find, you might be frustrated. But again, like, this is usually my husband will like listen to a little bit of what I'm listening to and he'll have some thoughts. But this is the only one he's listened to on his own. And he would keep coming home from work mad, but still listening to it.
That's invested.
And tell me about what happened. Yeah. So it's like, even if he was upset with how it went, he was still listening to it. And that's literally the only time that's happened with any of the shows that we've listened to so far.
Well, now,
and
like,
that's his own kind of high praise, isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't know if he's a reader or not. That sounds derogatory, not meant to be, but like, the creator of the series has books. So, who knows? I might have to get one, actually.
Yeah, within the same vein of like sci-fi or...
They seem to be futuristic sci-fi, but also he has a game on Steam too, which
what's the game?
Bone Stasis. It's a point-and-click horror. Hold on.
Oh, that's fun. Someone tell Ollie.
Stasis Bone Totem.
Okay.
So it looks very what was LucasArts point-and-click style-esque. But
sort of
underwater
Monkey
horror
Island kind of thing.
So yeah, but underwater horror. So
that's cool that he's like multimedia with that. He has stories to tell, and he's trying to find like the best medium for which story he's telling. I respect that. That's cool.
Big times.
Well, that wraps up today's discussion. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Hear It in Horror podcast. If you haven't already, we hope you'll give Derelict a listen and tell us what you think. If you have a horror podcast that you think we should review, we'd love to hear from you. If you're listening from YouTube, just comment below. Or if you're listening from your podcast streaming app, you can find the links to listen to Derelict and to submit a suggestion in the show notes. Next time, we'll be discussing Ominous Thrill. Until then, this episode ends, but the horror keeps playing. Good night.
Ashley here, reminding you to check us out on Patreon, where you can get early access to episodes and, when you join, are automatically invited to all the recording sessions. Follow us on Instagram at Hear It in Horror Podcast for all the updates. Hear It in Horror Podcast is brought to you by Dabbed in Ink. Here, adventure.